Shake my hand. 365. War Room 31 of 2021. Let's go. Right, guys. So good afternoon, good morning. Just depends on when you watch this. There are a couple of charts I want to talk to you guys about, a couple of things that we need to get through for this coming week. If you've been watching our series, our separate series, season 1 of how to 5x, 10x, 20x your trading account, where I give you guys a day-to-day full view of my life, trading setups, methodology, what I'm thinking about, what's happening, how, everyday life also affects all that kind of stuff, just to give you an idea of what a full-time trader sometimes can be, right? A lot of people assume it's always at a hotel by the beach. That's not my life. It's nowhere close to that, right? We have deadlines, we have clients, we have account targets to meet, and a lot of that stuff. So if you've been watching that stuff, I appreciate you. It's all happening on the same channel, right? In the same channel where we do this weekly analysis, which is a Traders War Room. There's a separate playlist there. Episode 1 and 2 is already out, so please check that out, right? So I'm sorry I couldn't be with you live, right, during today's War Room. All right, I had to pre-record this on Sunday morning, very early in the morning, while the entire house is still asleep. And if you've been following the series, because we've got a lot of things going on in our family, and I think there are going to be people later on today visiting us, and I might not just get a chance to do this thing at 4:30 p.m. SAT. So I thought, let me just quickly do a pre-recording. So instead of me canceling, right? Instead of me canceling, just trying to be consistent, right? So guys, we are going to go through a lot of charts as usual, just like how every other War Room has been. Well, I'm going to, scan the markets, but this is going to be very much linked to that how to 5x, 10x, 20x your trading account. Because if you've watched episode 2, and how I use the journal and why trading journals that are so interactive, so well put together, so communicative, like that one in episode 2. I already know what I'm doing wrong in that first week of trading for the month of August, in the first 3-4 days of market activity. I was already taking too many trades for content, right? Because remember, I want to capture an audience. I want you guys, to keep watching, but I can't get you guys to keep watching to the detriment of my account. And I'm not those celebrity traders or those blowers or 100 lot size. That's not me. I like to show people how I built what I built in case there's someone who wants to do the same thing. And the thing is, how do you become a consistent trader? Guys, that's the goal. Can you keep $1 today? Can you keep $1 tomorrow? You have losses along the way, but substantially your wins must completely outweigh your losses, right? Protect your capital. And so when I did that, I realized, I want this show to work. I want really people to get a real sense of everyday trading, right? How to move around the markets when this happens and this happens. But at the same time, I cannot sacrifice my accounts for entertainment for people on YouTube, right? I love all my students. I love what I do. I love this information, but I want it to be rule-based. And it's because I took the time, right? It was at midnight when I started to enter all those trades I'd taken into my journal. And I was like, whoa, look at my drawdown, right? I've got a drawdown in the account now. All right, this loss and this loss and this loss, these wins, these wins, right? What's my current win rate in the first week, right? The win rate can change after 2 weeks, after a month, it doesn't matter. But it's that ability to keep tracking yourself. Most people, when they trade, they don't have that. They actually do not have a system that is talking to them to say, listen, I know you made $100 on that one trade, but you're aware that in the last 7 other trades, you've lost $10 consistently, so you've lost 70, which means you're only in profits by 30. A lot of traders think they can do this maths mentally, and it's dangerous, right? So what I want to do in today's War Room is it's going to be very much linked to the show, right? So if I find very good, very good rule-based intraday trading setups, I'll take them, I'll record them, I'll post them, in the series to show you how that works. But fundamentally, I'm going to start to lock and tie up my capital in areas of value that best suit my trading style as a swing trader. All right, so that's what I am going to be looking at moving forward, right? And my target, guys, if you go through my affirmation cards, you'll see this in episode 3 or 4. I have a target for the 30th of September. Okay, 30th of September is my target, right? So because remember, I think in financial quarters. So January, February, March was quarter 1, January, February, March. April, May, June was Q2, and then July, August, September is the end of the third financial quarter. So we've got a target for this account that we're doing the 5x, 10x, 20x your trading account. And now I have to think around that target, right? It's I mean, that account is going up to about 23,000, almost 24,000, and I would like to add another 18,000 US dollars onto that particular account, and I'm going to record all those live trades, right? Whether I make the target, don't make the target, or record everything, but that's the target, and I'm starting to think I need to play to my strengths, right? So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So first things first, let's quickly scan. You know how trepidatious this past week was with NFP, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. In our public Telegram group, we already did a good job of just highlighting all that kind of stuff, like why we were right about NFP. How do I always know the job numbers are going to come out this week before they come out, and how markets are going to react. I shared all my notes. I was going to do a separate NFP video, but because of time, I just couldn't, right? I just couldn't. So I shared my notes on what I was going to say, and everything was in there. Why crypto jumped, all that cool stuff, right? So this is the coming week, all right? And for now, I like to filter important events, but sometimes medium impact events help me just understand. Again, we don't really trade news. We use supply and demand. We understand to know what the news is going to do, so as to understand the catalysts behind short-term burst movements in the markets. What is short-term? Hours to days, right? Hours to days. And if it's hours to days, intraday traders have to pay attention to this stuff, because you're in a smaller time frame, and these hours to days actually affect you. They really do, right? As a swing trader, I should know about it if I want to, because it will explain why there was a burst in particular movements. But sometimes news is just used to create liquidity, trap retail traders, push them to areas of value where smart money is waiting, and go against. That's how every news event went in July. I am still to put together a video like that for you, so you can see, and then we'll tie it in, right? But you see, on Monday, let me show. I'm sharing screen 2 with you guys. Am I sharing screen? Oh, screen 3. Sorry, screen 3. Right. So it should be in front of you. If it wasn't before, I don't know. Right. So FMC, yeah, okay, that's not too bad. 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 This might be interesting, right? Just tomorrow at 4 p.m. Monday, it might be, but it won't. I don't think it'll change a lot of things. CPI is back. In my previous videos, I've always told you guys this is a key indicators for inflation. So here's the deal about NFP. If NFP did what it did, which was they overshot, they were like 850, they got 900 and something thousand jobs, and then unemployment dropped. The economy is heating up now, it's on fire. Economy is producing jobs. So that inflation, the whole thing for banks in terms of monetary policy is exchange rate, Forex market, the exchange rate. What the monetary policy governs, right? The Forex market is not for us to become millionaires. The Forex market regulates geopolitical events between countries and currencies for trading. Monetary policy for each country oversees the exchange rate and interest rate. Exchange rate and interest rate. That's the only thing that the governor, the banks, Reserve Bank are thinking about. And so if the economy is heating up, if jobs are being created, money's on the table spinning like that, and what's it called? The QE, right? Quantitative easing, the unemployment checks, right? Those unemployment checks that the Democrats rode into elections, like we're going to print $1 trillion US, we're going to give people money for not having jobs because of COVID. That comes to an end in September. In September, the 4th of September, I think it's the last unemployment check or something weird like that in America. Because again, the economy is creating jobs. People are getting vaccinated. Yes, Delta is becoming a problem. Watch out for the next NFP, because this one did not account for that. Right? The reason why I was almost sure that they were going to beat NFP was because when I looked at the survey dates of when the NFP data was done, and then I was tracking, wait a minute, when did Delta become a problem in America? You'll notice that the survey was done before Delta was a problem. So if the survey was done before Delta was a problem, my common sense had to kick in. People were still going to work. People were still applying for jobs. People were still, people were not being locked down at home, scared of Delta. But then after the survey was done, and then Delta came out like end of July into August, seriously, like in the States. So the next NFP report might factor that Delta variant. So they might have a target that they can't beat. You know what I mean? And then we should be on the other side looking for signs of that. But then it's still too early to confirm, right? So if they beat the job thing, and FOMC, remember this was a big FOMC month, July, said, look, man, we're going to be looking at the next 2 job reports. Job report 1 was 48 hours ago on Friday. And they said, if we've got good job numbers, and I've done a video around this, right? I've done a video. It's called What Did Powell Say? I explain everything to you. What did Powell say? It's a very short video. You should watch this kind of stuff because you can take notes and then replicate this stuff because it happens every month. There we go. On Wednesday, we've got the price index again, CPI, core price again, just like we did last month. So that at some point I can start to create new content for you to teach you other new things that you need to consolidate your market information. So please do watch my videos, but more importantly, learn from them, right? Ask questions in the comment section. I will do a 360 and come back and respond, I promise, right? So, or join our public Telegram group because I'm quite active there, right? Like it's for free. It's a public Telegram group, literally for free. I put charts in there, I put analysis in there, I talk to you guys about stuff. Yes, and there's another link down there for the full course if you want that, right? But just keep in touch so that I know where you are. Now, because of what the FOMC said, looking at the next 2 job reports, the first one is out. If they're both good, the first one was good, if the next one is also good, he says, then we can think about tempering. Tempering is a policy. The banks don't just jump at it because they have to change, go to Congress. It's a policy. But to temper would mean to increase interest rates. To temper would mean to start to get that stronger bullish dollar movement that we saw the FOMC trigger on the 16th of June, right? So this data coming out on Wednesday is important because it measures that inflation stuff, right? So if inflation keeps going up and up and up, and then the debate is inflation transitory? As in, yes, we'll have high inflation, but it's transitory. We will move past it. You know that song, if you're going through hell, don't stop. If you catch hell, don't hold it. Going through hell, don't hold it. Na 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 na, don't stop. Or if you catch hell, don't hold it. If you're going through hell, don't stop. So that's what they're saying. Like if inflation is a transitory, we won't stop. We're just going to go through it. So there's nothing to worry about. But if the FOMC starts to change its tone and says, look, man, this thing is not transitory, like some of the hedge fund managers are saying, this thing is actually here to stay, then you're going to get hyperinflation. That thing from like Zim, hyperinflation, where prices go up every day and you can't control it, right? And the FOMC, the Fed, has to step in with policy measures to slow down, right? Because it's to start to cool down the economy, right? So that's why so Wednesday is the first time we've got something very big, very important. It's such a chilled week, man. And then we've got this here all the way down there on Thursday, also a little bit of an index reader, right? But that's Thursday. So Wednesday and Thursday, we'll get some dollar data. But otherwise, it's just a beautiful, quiet week, right? Giving the markets enough time to swing, or markets will just consolidate, which is annoying for people with targets. Because sometimes I can have a target for an amount for a client or for myself or for my whole team, right? 65 Trading Corporation, we could have like, okay, fine, 90K in one financial quarter, right? That's a realistic target. But then the markets in the swings we're in can consolidate for 2 weeks, right? There are only 20 trading days in a month for a retail trader, right? For someone who's not a bank, banks can operate over the weekends, but for retail traders, you only got 5 days a week times 4 weeks, Monday to Friday times 4, which is 20 days. And so when markets consolidate for 2 weeks, you're losing 10 days out of 20, you're losing half your trading time, right? So it's quite interesting. Anyways, let's get cracking, guys. Sorry for the long intro. I'm very excited to be doing this kind of stuff, right? So this chart, I'm just going to keep putting notes on it. So our fib level didn't stand. So I'm going to delete that, number one. But everything else is just beautiful. Daily supply of markets drop. Markets left a daily supply to a daily demand. Markets are coming back to a daily supply. Because we've done my course in module 1, week 1 and week 2. That's all I'm trying to prime your mind on, right? So if you're a 365 student, this is what you really need to see. To gain confidence in your strategy, whatever it is, you have to back test it, you have to see it happen over and over again. In week 1 and week 2 of the course, I keep saying this to you guys. Markets move from supply to demand, demand to supply. And because of that, no one can tell us that markets are random. Right, that's kind of like where we come from, right? And unfortunately, with a win rate of anywhere between 80 to 85% and sometimes 90, depending on the year, right? It's difficult. It's becoming more and more and more difficult for anyone to convince me otherwise about trading styles, right? And that's fundamentally because I see this happen every day, right? I've back tested this. This is my 8th year in the market, going on to 9. It's becoming more difficult, right, for anyone to convince me that it is difficult to master the markets. It's difficult to master yourself. That's the truth. Yourself is generally the problem most of the time, right? You have to get that mentorship, you have to get that discipline. You have to want to read. So I'm just trying to pull up something here that I'm going to need later on during the video. But now I need a clean chart to show you what I think is about to happen in the dollar index. I always start with the dollar index because the markets seem to revolve a lot around the dollar, right? Not entirely, but it's actually very important. You always know what is going on with the dollar, right? So I've got a So you saw earlier on the first chart, I removed that note that said fib level, blah, blah, blah. And markets are still inside it, right? So maybe it was too early to delete that. I don't think it's going to drop. I want it to drop. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm in a USD Swiss franc sale. So you'll see in episode 3 of the series, how to 5x 10x your account, because I record my day on Friday, NFP. I'll release that tomorrow or something. You'll see that I was smart enough to quickly delete those pending orders that we had set on Monday, right? Thinking, markets are going to get there before NFP. And then if NFP was negative, that was a beautiful place to sell. And then markets stalled, froze for 48 hours on Wednesday and Thursday. Markets just traded sideways, just literally consolidated. And then they used NFP to rush into that sell. And I didn't like that forceful movement because, again, markets are moving from a demand, positive NFP, which means stronger dollar. And I was worried because those areas of value were my swing areas, right? So it wasn't the same thing as in this series where I'm risking $20 to make 100. I mean, I had about $300 US on the line in that area of value to make about 900, right? If it was to drop. But if I was wrong about that area of value, that was going to cost me a whole lot of money, more than I'm willing to lose right now. So I had to quickly delete the first pending order, right, which was on an H4. I'll show it to you actually. Let me just pull up my live account. Why are we talking as if I can't show you the stuff, right? And then I set one pending order on a smaller order block right at the top on the 1 hour time frame, hoping to get triggered on Monday, but actually got triggered Friday night, right around about 7 p.m. before I went to sleep, which was Oaks, right? So the dollar is actually inside this, bearish 0.61 area, and what would be nice for me in the current trades that I'm in, it's just for it to drop. Even if it wants to be strong, just drop at least to retest a level, drop to kind of like say, you know what, we move too fast, let's collect some buy orders here, and then we move up, right? So it's something, that's all I'm asking for. But if that doesn't happen, I'm going to take a loss on USD Swiss franc, and I'm going to take a loss on my NZDUSD trade, because remember, I'm very obsessed about that, which is so dangerous. Every time I'm obsessed about a trade, sometimes it doesn't go my way. But I'm so bullish on NZDUSD, and I hate the fact that there was a perfect entry that I missed a long time ago. And now I've been trying to catch the wave back up, because I'm almost certain on the 18th of August, they will increase interest rates, which is a bullish case. So this is my live account, I think, on screen. Just let me just share. So I'm resharing screen 1, right? So this is what's going on. I've got, let me show you. Right, so this is where we were on episode 2, right? I had a pending order right here. And when NFP happened, you see this here? This is the consolidation I'm talking about. Markets just froze from Wednesday into Thursday here. And then, yes, started to move up Friday morning of NFP. And then boom, when NFP came up, it was just this crazy strong green candle, which means there's a high chance there is a whole lot more demand than supply. Right, so you see this white line here? That's where I had that sell. I had a sell order there, good sell order, stop loss on the outside here. It was worth about 289 to almost $300 US, and we were going to drop price all the way back to where? To this demand down here on the 1 hour time frame. Right, there's a demand. You see, there's still a pending order down here for demand where markets didn't go. So markets vexed me here. Instead of going up, they did. Instead of going down, they didn't go down enough, right? So now I deleted this because I knew, first of all, I would be in the hole for $300 if I'm wrong. But number 2, You never want to sell when price is coming up violently like this, right? There's a high chance there's going to be more demand than supply. Or if price is just red, what you want is an accumulation of orders. So you want to see price, come to you, sure, but in a trend. You want to be able to draw a trend line. I can't draw a trend line here because it's parabolic. It's a missile. It's like so sharp, so fast, so violent into this area of value. So what I did do was just drill down, find an H1 order block, and then I put a buy there, right? So this is what I was for a sell pending order 0.25. And so now I'm risking about $43 US, which is still more than I want. And markets finally got there and cooled down. This is not good. This is not the type of candlestick pattern, right? That is encouraging that markets are going to drop. It's absolutely not. I don't even want to lie to you. On the 1 hour time frame, this is scary, right? There's a high chance that markets are just going to explode forward, hit my stop loss, and then maybe drop or just keep going up, right? And I'll show you why I believe that on the dollar index, right? So it's a sucky situation to be in. If it does drop a little bit, and I'm up at midnight, which I doubt I will, I never stay up anymore for price action. I'll just take the L with, and then keep it moving. But if it does drop a bit and I'm awake, I'll just break even. All right. And 15 minutes chart was what really made me understand, all right, how impossible it might be, right? Look at this. Right. So to me, that tells me that they're not even interested in dropping price. The fact that markets did drop, didn't even bother coming down here, went up, bullish engulfing pattern, and then kind of like just rotated up again is a big problem because I entered right there, right? So I'm $7 profits. Look at this NZDUSD, right? Waiting to get triggered. Look at how I got triggered. Finally, markets broke down. Why? Dollar strength, right, for the day. So it finally came back to this pending order that we're in. We really should have bought all the way down there. When markets came last time, we were waiting a little bit too low, right? These white lines, remember, are my day-to-day separators. But check this out on Friday. Look at how lucky I was. Check this out. I entered here, right? And markets literally power supply and demand and drawing your areas of value correctly. I could have been stopped out, but because I knew how big that area of value was, markets missed me by literally 1 pip, right? But then spent the whole night, 6 p.m. up until, I don't know, markets closed that Friday night, failing to break out, like literally just failing to break out of this as a good buy, right? So this has been happening all Friday night. And then eventually I was on, I don't know, $5 profit or whatever. And then markets started to show me terrible signs of another drop, right? So it depends on how the Asian session wants to open, right? If they don't want to consolidate to the downside and they want to consolidate the dollar to the upside, I will wake up with these trades, hitting a stop loss. It's just the reality. If they don't and they push to the upside, hoping to drop, I don't know, during the London session or something, I will be, I wake up at 4 at least to meditate. So if it's something, if there's enough room for me to lock my stop loss at 4 a.m., I'm definitely going to do that, right? But here I've got about, it's a sad day for Leroy. How much is this? I hope it's not more than $100 for both trades in total. Okay, I've got 29 here and 40 something. So about $60 on the line. Right, on the line. And then if this works out, I want to break even and not get out, but I might have to get out there to make profits because the dollar is still going to be strong for a bit. All right, so enough intros, or not intros. I think we're well in it. Let's go back to screen 3 and talk about the dollar. I want to show you guys something, right? 365 traders, this is it. This is where our course and our information must come to be. We've been right about this index because all we've done is follow smart money. But now, outside of following smart money, it's now time to apply everything. So it's now time to apply our toolkit, module 1, master the basics. Our toolkit must come in. It's not enough that prices left a supply or a demand or whatever. We must talk about it. We must talk about what type of a supply now, how many dings, glass effect, all those kind of things that I've taught you guys in the course, because we need them now. We absolutely need them. It's been nice to be right all the time about this, but now we need to make a decision, right? Decision, area of value number 1, you know what's going on here. If prices dropping and we've got these little green guys over there, we can see that there was a, what are we doing? Let's start properly. Let's start properly. Sorry, guys. Let's start properly. Let's start properly. Repetition is key. Right, so Donald Trump's story, right? Enters here, supply. 2018, war on China, demand. Takes off, COVID, back to supply. Boom, back to demand. Who enters price and demand on the DXY, on the governing platform? Democrats. Obama, demand. Democrats always use demands in the markets, not random. That's just how it is. Democrats, back test your stuff. Just back test it, right? But I've done many videos around this, just proving it to you, right? So most Republicans start off with supplies, Democrats start off with demand. So somewhere in January, Biden gets elected, right? Goes into office. November, when the election came for Trump to get out, push price into a demand. This is the Biden effect, right? I am not a dollar bull, not a dollar bull until the dollar clears this level, right? I've said this before, and when I say clears, I need to see price not just break out, but close on the other side and then do something like that. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know, the Democrats are going to maintain stuff. So they're going to slow down because there's a lot of debate around the lost decade. Are they really going to let it happen? Are they going to break it down in phases? But right now, as far as I can tell, it will most likely, or still on schedule. I'm still pushing the lost decade thesis, right? So look at this. Somewhere in here is a nasty supply. It's not the best supply. It's not the prettiest supply, but it's a supply. It's there. It's really there, right? And you can even do this if you want for one of those people. But for me, that is definitely a good contender for an area of value, right? Monthly supply, right? Now we're on the weekly time frame, right? And if you don't like the monthly supply and it's unclear to you, this is clear as day, right? This is clear as day. So let's remove the monthly supply, which is there. But there it is there. We've got a strong weekly supply. So we've got a weekly supply, peak supply to say the least. And then we've got these dings, right? So this is, so you see now, I still can't shake the dollar bear thesis, even though today I'm going to tell you something slightly to be aware of, right? Remember, price as a time pattern to it. What I want to happen can happen in the medium to long term, but in the short term, we could get affected if we don't understand price structure. In the long term, price could fall, but in the short term, what's going on? I've got a bearish pattern here, you know, a bearish engulfing pattern. I've got a green candle coming all the way up there, which is not uncommon because normally my engulfing candles need to get retested. So it would not be crazy for me to go, yeah, it's time now, right? It wouldn't be crazy. I'm in a monthly supply. I'm still in a weekly supply. My weekly supply hasn't been invalidated. That's not a crazy assumption. It's not a crazy analysis. But when I dig down now to my daily area of value, we got to talk about it. So the first area of value that was in charge, remember, you know, for me, pretty much the most of August was the fact that markets on most of our brokers gapped down here, number one. So we knew for sure, there were a lot of order flows, sell orders, pushing price down. That's number one. We knew this, and so we massively did a good job of sticking to this. Our USDJPY, beautiful sales. There are so many good trades that came out of understanding the DXY chart. Now, this supply here is broken, right? We can agree. This one in red here. Look at this. Markets, FOMC meeting at some point in time did this and then allowed us to drop. All right. That's interesting now. But this area is still within the weekly supply. But on the daily, we now have this situation here where, yes, there is no intermediate daily supply because it's now broken. And now we have to, we're wondering if there's still going to be enough sell pressure to hold price between there and somewhere there, which is just above, you know, the daily supply that was broken. Is there enough sell pressure to hold price? And if you go to my main chart, you know, the chart that I work with a lot with the dollar index, you will see now that these yellow lines, right, 1, 2, right, for entry and exit, these are the lines now I'm looking for a touch. I'm looking for a touch here because fundamentally speaking, I understand that this might not hold, right? So let's go back to another chart. Sorry, because this will just confuse you. This will just confuse you, right? So this is broken, number one. All right, so my dogs are awake. My dogs are awake, all the babies are gonna wake up soon, right? Number two, yes, you could make an assumption and look at this, right? And that's fine. We could be hoping for that. You see how price sits nicely inside there. You see this bearish engulfing candle. You see price bleeding out. That's a possibility. I won't lie. But the problem is, it's just in the exact same place where we know orders have been exhausted and broken, right? So I'm not a strong believer of this kind of stuff. Yes, it could be a lower low Leroy prices, preparing to drop, etc., etc. We saw how they use retail traders and silly retail trading strategies, right? We saw how they created an up channel here. I hope you guys can see that. Let's make that a little bit big, right? How they created that channel there for a while, right? Only for what? For price to drop out. We saw how they used that there. And this supply-ish that I've just drawn right now could have been the cause, right? Could have been the cause of a complete breakdown in structure. And now we have arrived. The problem with me is in the trades that I'm in, I don't know if this is well worth the risk, right? The gamble, right? Will markets make a push to touch and then drop, or will markets just start lower and come down there, which would be great for both of the trades I'm in, but it's a high possibility. The other thing to be aware of on the dollar index is the fact that as an index by itself, like just looking at this whole area of value, we've got 1, we've got 2, and now we have 3, right? Glass effect. 365 traders, you know about glass effect. It is a big deal and a big problem. Yes, we could, it's a stretch, right? It's a stretch. It's a big stretch to start talking about head and shoulders. It's a big stretch. But what's important here is we've got glass effect. We've got glass effect both on the daily and the weekly area of value. And if that's the case, my worry is, we might experience a push up before we ever get to see a push down, right? So that's something that I'm approaching the markets with this week. That's something I'm worried about the markets this week. And if you look to the left, there's really not much. There's nothing much we can literally. This was our saving grace, this beautiful peak here. Moving forward, we stuck with waiting for movements all the way up here. Right, and even if that was the case, you see there, fresh touches happen, and so now we're looking for a retest, all the way up here. So that's a possibility that the banks could play with. That's a very big possibility that the banks could play with. Only because if they got enough buy orders in here and that wasn't enough, and they used NFP now to bring in retail trader money. Remember, news events are just to create that movement in the markets, right? So how many millions of traders put how much money into the strong movement back up there, right? So then we've got an induced daily demand with serious order flows going against an established old supply that's been tested 3 times. Right, it's a battle. This week is going to be a battle, and then we've got these on Wednesday and Thursday that will make or break our area here. So watch out for that. And because of that, no clean indication of what's going on, right? So all we can do now is rely on checking the charts day to day and also the power of the swing, right? I don't want this thing to be too long because I am pre-recording, so I can go on and on and on and on and on and on. Normally when it's being done live, I always worry because it gets dark. It's like on my office, I can see the sunset, the way my office is set up. When I can't see the sun anymore, I know people must go to their homes and start to cook now, right? But I'm pre-recording this thing, right? So I told you guys to sell here. I hope you guys did, right? This was done a week before NFP. This charts are in the public Telegram group, right? Because remember, we don't trade news. So I'm not looking at areas of value based on the data. I'm using the data to create content and to help you understand everything. But what I want to trade is what the market's already priced in, right? And I told you the 61.8 fib there. There's a good supply on the H4. This was a week before NFP. This is what we talk about when we say swing trading, right? This is it, right? So I marked all these charts out for you guys, put them on the public Telegram group. That's how I do my signals, so to speak. And markets are dropping. There's nothing to do on this chart. There's nothing to do. If the dollar continues being strong, there's nothing to do. There's absolutely nothing to do. It must keep falling. So that's why we wanted to get in ahead, because now, because of NFP, because of news, because of the data, this is a good trade to be in right now, right? You can't zula here now and try to enter, right? it's a tricky time, right? So pound USD, euro USD bleeding, right? Easy. Those were easy setups that I sent for free on the public Telegram group. This ran even quicker, right? 50% bearish level. This is where that chart was. We spoke about this. Right, markets are kind of like are bleeding into serious areas. So euro USD, generally speaking, as this thing of running a little bit ahead of the pound, sometimes, not all the time, but it can be used, quite smartly, because whatever the euro is going to do, euro USD, pound generally follows, man. It's like almost a given. Once again, I did not get markets to come up. We're here. This is going to be a killer trade. I don't know when they're going to come with these FOMC levels, right? But I will be waiting, right? So look at how deep. This is a daily demand now, right? So remember, for the whole month of July, right, markets were just breaking, grinding, and then NFP for whatever came out in June, July gave us the false positive, right? Unemployment growth. The job creation growth, but also high unemployment on the 2nd of July, whatever, right, which caused us a very good, buy on euro USD, and it's been grinding. It's been depleting our order blocks in the daily time frame. Sorry, not order blocks, our order flows on this whole area here, right? You can imagine all these things. You can imagine, right? So you can call this one touch, but it's not. It is definitely not one touch, but it's one big pullback, right? All this, it took all of this almost compression, right, to allow for this explosion to happen into that area that I said sell a week ago. This is it, right? And I think on my swing accounts, I'm sure I'm out of this by now, right? I'm pretty sure I closed because I wasn't sure what's going to happen on this red area. This is where price set at, right, on NFP. And euro bulls are suffering right now, and they really shouldn't be, because again, what I want us to do today as we go back into how we used to do things, how we should do things, is to start to look at that bigger picture. And the bigger picture is euro, USD, pound, USD. They should be melting. They all should be melting. We don't know how long it's going to last, right? So markets now have done what we believe to be a deduction of serious order flows, a strong deduction of serious order flows, and give or take about halfway, right? So they've almost depleted half of what is inside this area of value in terms of money. And so until there's clarity on the dollar, it's risky to take a buy here. It's very risky to take a buy, only because if the dollar continues to be strong, this won't work. And number one. Number two, markets are not really supporting strong upside movements, right? This is supposed to happen. 16th of June, FOMC has been consistent in pumping the dollar, it seems, and you can see euro USD has suffered since then. Prices dropped. This area here is at red, because technically markets did pop it, right? This demand was broken. Whether you believe it or not, this demand for me was already broken, right? We'll see how markets react to it. But then we've got a problem. If this doesn't hold and the dollar continues strong, then we really, I'm not in euro USD anymore. I'm still in pound USD, but I'm not in euro USD because it hit my TP, right? So what we want to see is this. I repeat, you're watching for how the dollar is going to behave in the next, in the short term, hours to days. And if the dollar starts to show weakness, because still in a fib level, then sure, you're going to get some type of pullback to here. And then maybe we can sell again. I'll be watching out for that. Please watch out for that. But if the dollar continues to be strong, and then you're barely going to get such a movement, right? You're barely going to get a movement to the upside. If you're lucky, this is a nice place to sell on the 1 hour time frame. Just pull it back to someone here. And then, unfortunately, it's a war room, so there's not enough time to explain why. Otherwise, this will be like 4 hours, and then no one will watch it. I hope you guys, if you guys, by the way, if this is helping you, please do like. The likes, the sharing helps a lot. There's so much I want to do with the channel, but I have to do it with the community. So when we get to 3,000 subscribers, I have a big trading psychology course, guys. 92 trading psychology videos that I need to get through with you for free, all on YouTube. No one teaches trading psychology. People say, oh, don't let your losses run. Don't cut your wins too short. That means nothing to human beings. You have to actually explain to them the trading psychology, the mental stuff, the neurochemistry is going through as a trader and what they see, and then the practical application, trading in clusters, managing, reviewing your own psychology, reviewing the tape, so to speak, right? So let's just get this channel going, please, so we can get that stuff there, guys. I really want to do it once properly with a good, strong community, and do it in parts, right? Because people come and join us in different stages of our lives. So the quicker we can get there, the better, right? So yeah, this is what, you are better off selling here. But again, remember, these sells, all of these sells now are what we call selling low. They are not the best, especially when areas of values have not yet been removed. So what would be nice, to be honest with you, to be safe, is the removal of this daily demand here. Remember, the daily demand is this red area. Price must first remove it and then pull back. That is a sale I would run for. But until my daily demand is taken out, it's tricky. It could work, it might not work. And I don't want to put that down as a signal, because you have to watch. See, the reason why 365 signals work best for students is because they've done the course. So when I paint out scenarios, they understand that these are all probability trades. But on the day of trade and execution, you bring all that knowledge from the course and the toolkits, and then you apply. So my job is to give forecast and direction. Your job is then on the day, if Euro is not around, if he's busy with his family, if he's what, I've got a lot of other things going on, you can apply the knowledge, right? So I'm saying the daily demand first has to be taken out for me to trust it, right? It's weak. It's a weak daily demand, but weakness is not the same as being broken. We want it broken. I would prefer this to be broken, right? Which again is tricky. It could work, it might not. This could be the place where they come back. They say they don't break the demand, right? This is consolidation right inside the demand, right? They're accumulating orders here. We don't know which type of orders they are accumulating, but they are accumulating orders. Is it buy orders to push up? Or is it sell orders to continue down, right? We would like to believe this is a PCP, a potential continuation pattern that's going to continue the downtrend. That's what I want to believe. But it is happening inside an area of value where demand exceeds supply, where there are buyers more than there are sellers, where it is buy low, not sell low. This is a buy low place, not a seller's place. And so the bears have a lot of work to do. So watch out for that. No clean decision there from me. Pound USD, on the other hand, still has a little bit of room, right? So at least we now have a primary mover. You can see there it did do a sell high opportunity. This is probably going to be 0.38, if not 236, one of the PCP fib levels where it just gave us a swing low just to sell again for those people who are watching. So we could try and pinpoint that. There you go. Like, well, when you back test your stuff and you see it so many times, right? You generally have a good feel. They're 2.36, like I said, bearish engulfing pattern. So these guys want to sell. This is a beautiful place to wait. This is a beautiful place to wait, right? So pound USD, if you're already not in, this is a beautiful place to wait up here. All right. This might happen. This might happen. Boom, boom. All right. And I'm fine with missing that because I've already sold a whole lot higher. Right. So this is me. I'm up there. For those of you who are in the public Telegram group, we sold here. Right. Or you got in here. It's up to you. If you took the Friday signal, this is where you should have got in. If you missed it, this is the retest of that engulfing thing that I was telling you guys about on the Friday, other Friday Telegram group. And now I'm saying to you that we now have got, and I hope all this is clear. I hope this is all coming across clear. I hope my chart is big enough. I'm not the best editor in the world, so if it's not clear now, I won't be able to fix it. But I hope you guys can see these labels. I'm trying to be as conscious as I can. Right, so if you sold where I sold, right, all you have to do now is to lock profits. And yes, it's going to look like, oh, Larry, look at all this money. We can lock and protect it. Let's put it up there. If you've got like 3 orders, then sure, one of them you can lock up to here. But if you don't, the best bet is to lock there. All right, and then that's the distance. That's all you can eat for now, and that's okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with locking up until there, right? So that's about 20, 30 pips in. Yes, this thing has really dropped as we wanted it to drop, almost 100 pips now, 90 pips down. But I'm going to lock here because I don't want to lose my area of competition. right? And then if price comes against me, so be it. But then once I lock, I'm risk-free, at least on this trade. Must be risk-free on the accounting job. At least on this trade, I'm risk-free. And I'm hoping to catch a nice sell here. That's why I want to lock above this area. So sell one, stop loss just above there. And then I want to catch a nice continuous sell there. So if price decides to do some hula whoops and comes there, then I sell with it, right? So it's a lot of notes on this chart. Hope it makes sense, right? So I'm just going to tick this just to add it to the trading plan because I like that. You see, EURUSD doesn't have something like that. Let's see how far this is from a daily demand. You see this? So many nodes, so many nodes, so many nodes, so many nodes. Man, in the capital now, families are awake. I'm gonna do that Sunday breakfast. My boy's birthday is turning 7 on Tuesday, man. He has no idea what's in the boot. We've been hiding his presents in the boot for a while now. Looking for that, right? So you see where that sell is, that 1 hour sell right there. That's a bearish engulfing pattern on the daily time frame. Confluence, yes. Do you see how far we are from a daily demand? The next area of value for reaction. You see on the daily chart, there's nothing to catch price. There might be stuff on H4, which is annoying, but there's really nothing serious on the daily, right? So these areas need to melt. Hopefully, one of these H4 areas is strong enough. Okay, all right, look at this. Check this out now. Let's do this better. So now we can see how big, you know, on H4, that's where we wanted to sell on H1. I've just adjusted it a bit. You see there? And that was our golden Fibonacci area here. It's perfect. It's perfect. Price took too long to drop. I am judging price on that, right? So I will be risk sensitive, drop, you know, reduce lot size in case it doesn't work out because you want to, if I've taught you before, you know, you don't want prices to take forever to drop, right? But on the H4 time frame, it's a good place there. I'm strong order block, price is dropping. And now we just want one of these weak demands on the H4 to push price up to this area, right? To do something like this, right? And then we sell with them. And that's because there is no daily demand that's close by, right? That'll contradict what we're doing, right? So I'm gonna write here pound USD trade sell. Then I'm gonna quickly drum up a trading plan. And I keep saying that, and that's because in my heart I want to do it for you guys, but just time's not on my side, right? Pound JPY, finally a trade to do with nothing with the dollar. So we have to give it the respect. Governor, I wish I had a clock. I wish I knew how long. It's been an hour. Our war rooms are normally 2 hours, 30 minutes. I just want to make sure I don't talk forever and waste your guys' time. There we go. So markets are still playing around at a monthly supply, man. Markets are still playing around at a monthly supply. Markets are also interacting with old trend lines. The 2007, 2008 drop. And these pairs are notorious for trying to break out of this stuff, right? Because of the lost decade, risk-sensitive assets are trying to break out of this thing, right? So if I go to the weekly, you can see what's cooking here, right? So let's remove all these because I'm sure these are daily supplies I've mapped out, right? So price is trying to contain itself. You see that there? Price has been trying to contain. Trying to push it back into that the golden plan, the long term, the 10, 12 year plan of a trend line, and it's looking tight, right? So can't really see, and I'm sure there was something that markets were reacting to here. I'm sure there was, right? But this is like a strong hidden demand right here that literally just turned price around, right? Price was dropping, hit something. Probably on the daily, right? Look at this pin bar situation here. Okay, all right. So we can see why, right? And then all of a sudden, market started that. Now look at this. I don't know. I mean, I don't trade these things, but I know them. That's not a nice one, right? But that could be seen as a neckline. That's number one. Number two, you could have this. Head. right? And there's a neckline there. Head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder, right? So if it breaks out, it's gonna run. If it breaks out, it's gonna run. According to that, technical what. I really don't trade those things most of the time. I just like what I like, right? So I like this idea of a supply and demand situation. Unfortunately, I'm also aware that there was a monthly bullish engulfing pattern just outside a supply, right? Which markets have completely drained, hoping for a push. They used the whole month to drain buy orders here. And you can see that August is starting off a little bit green, right? Because August might be wanting to react to this situation here. So it's starting off a little bit green. August is starting off a little bit green. Let's move this out of the way, right? There we go. And in fact, this demand is broken. So you could get that suicidal push, right? Where markets push just to really drop because they've removed their trampoline up there. So it's quite tricky. Even from the jump, I can't make a decision. It's one of those weeks where markets just have to wait for the banks to make their play. But it'll be nice if price was to drop. I'm still gonna fade to that. Let's go on the weekly time frame. One more time, we're here. Right, so on the weekly time frame, we can see that there is still unfilled sell orders on the chart. You know what I was thinking, guys? You know, if that 5x, 10x, 20x series that I'm doing does well, that is, if you guys watch it and you share it and like it's got good, season 2 will be a little bit different because then I'd have to hire a production company just to follow me around, film and do the editing. Right, so we'll do season 1 and season 2 of just growing accounts and just walking you through the steps. Season 3 will be different. You know, when I do like maybe 30 minutes of social media a day, give or take, and then my phone locks me out just for focus and discipline. And I had to join a lot of Forex groups because to post 365 stuff, just try and get the word out. And I've noticed the few people making money do dumb stuff with the money. Now, I'm just being honest, and I'm not a lifestyle trader, right? So all you'll see is always me in this room, or in my headquarters office, right? How I drive, where I stay. This is not what this channel is about, because my money can never be your money. I'm here to just teach you how to do it. But what I'd like to do is to, in season 3, if it continues, is to actually take up a challenge, film the whole thing, go to a realtor, you know, find another house that we want to buy, you know, record the signing of things, and then we create a trading challenge on how to buy a house. Like, so it'll be like a beautiful 5-bedroom home. I mean, Graham's has all his property. Just to teach traders who are profitable, forget about wealth. Being profitable is not wealth creation. Right? You can have one bad trading day with your stupid big lot sizes and you're back to zero. Where is the wealth creation behind the trading, right? Where is the asset accumulation, stocks, crypto, things that can help you generate that stuff? So I'd like to do that. First of all, raise money to actually buy a house cash, right? There's some traders, I bumped into someone, or it was like not bumped in, but we spoke a bit, bumped in, they made many other conversations where, you know, in his first round of doing the academy, he joined me in 2019. And then he did come for a couple of one-on-ones. And then I offer free one-on-ones, but I don't chase people, right? Because of time. As the academy grows, it's up to you if you want to use me as a full resource. So he did a couple of them, and I did tell him I'll bring it up in one of my videos. So he's a very nice guy. And during his winning, he went through like an amazing winning streak, changed their entire lives, but forgot to pay debt. Right? So there's something I need to do this, teach, setups, trading, academy, but we need to do financial education, guys, without canceling our debts. Debts will follow you everywhere. And so now during these down days in trading, right, because you go through booms and bursts of trader. In my module 1, PDF 1, I tell you guys the development and cycle of a trader, right? During the downturns, if you're a purely crypto traders are a tough bear market, right, for about 2 months now. Right, so if that's your thing, if just your area of focus, and you're going through a bear market, and it's also your substance, it's how you live, right? Do you have funds for those 2 months to take care of yourself? Or during the down days, life is weird, right? And then debt comes in. So he was like, then he struggled through that, and he almost lost everything. And he got 2 cars, repossessed, but he kept one car, blah, 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 blah. And now he's going through the remote course again, back to the basics. And it's been 2 months and he's back to that stuff, right? So it's not only just about trading. It's like, how do you get people to be financially astute? Like your taxes and all that, because so much to do, right? So on the weekly time frame, and we'll get it done. I can tell you that. I can promise you that much. I'm really enjoying doing this kind of stuff. Right. So we've got this. We've got a potential play here, up here. So if there was a breakout, right, well, hopefully that would stop it if you want to sell this asset. I'm not entirely sure. There's more sell opportunity than buy opportunity, because you don't want to go against strong supplies and then end up in another supply. But it's all about how this price wants to play. Let's quickly go to the pound index. The British pound is going to look the same as pound USD, right? And we did this last week, but I just want to see, you know, how exactly it is. Oh, and by the way, 15 August, we're launching our first annual women's event, right? It's going to be an 8-week intense financial, all the stuff that I just spoke about, right? How do you mobilize your stock bills amongst yourselves? And men can come too. We call it a women's event because it's Women's Month, and women are going to get a crazy discount, right? So it's going to be, my course is $300 for 8 weeks, live classes 3 times a week and everything, 365 days of mentorship, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be 180, right? So literally about 40% off for the women. And for anyone else who's not a woman wants to join, if you register early, you'll get like $100 discount. So you'll pay like $200. The discounts don't matter, right? What matters is on the 15th of August, we're going to do the trading course. We're gonna build some channels around it. So 90% of that is going to be really based on stocks, financials, Forex, crypto, how to trade supply and demand, how to extract money from this, but then now how to leverage, right, other financial institutions around you, literally. And I'm hoping women have this ability to do collaborative projects far much more better. In fact, Africa is fundamentally based on a lot of the women's stuff, right? The backs of Africa. So it's definitely something to kind of like, you know, just look at 15 August. You know, we'll start to drop marketing stuff, marketing the event, etc. Right. So the pound here is dropping, or was dropping. It's supposed to drop, right? This is the British pound index. Was dropping, supposed to drop, right? And we can see there was some type of a retest there. And generally speaking, I would want to see this long term, you know, this. So I'm still until this thing shows me otherwise, right? Until this chart, this index chart measuring the pound strength shows me otherwise, I would love to see this. I would love to see this happen. And so that's kind of like my attitude. Let me just look at the Japanese yen. This thing dropped the whole month of June and July and some more, right? So there we go. Right, this thing has been falling since January and then consolidating a lot in those months and then now falling again in July, etc., etc. All right. We've had a fresh touch here, and there's still a little bit of room, I guess, to the downside. This is a weird candle setup. So we shall see. We really will see who's going to win this war, right? So pound JPY, I'm going to be looking for a little bit of sell side momentum right now, because until you break my strong supplies, I'm not convinced, right? You could get a push up to there, to contend with the weekly area of value, but I'm not yet entirely convinced of strong bull movement, right? Strong bull movement is not really what I'm worried about right now, or at least what I want to see. Until price show me that, I'm gonna continue, right? On the daily time frame, we have this situation happening here, and it's important to see this for yourself, right? You got daily demand broken, glass effect, right? Broken demands, glass effects, number one. Number two, you've got a situation of creating lower highs, lower highs, right? And then we shall see. We're waiting for a lower low, because that would be great. So if we need to get a break to the downside, awesome, right? Because we need this to be broken now. Break of market structure. That's what we need. for a long-term swing, and it's quite a lot to ask from price right now, right? And I'll show you why. Because I can't clearly identify a daily supply yet, or let's see. I mean, from where price was, where I was zoomed out of, a struggle. So let's quickly find a daily supply where we can bounce a good trade idea from. All right, not good. Markets have used this. And you see how markets keep coming back. So we'll have something like that. Markets will drop and enter it, and then we'll have something like that. Right, markets will drop and almost enter. If you draw the area of competition, which is there, you see that there, took the weak area of competition. If I've taught you, you know what I'm talking about, will drop, and then you'll have the next one, bearish engulfing pattern. See, these are the lower lows I'm talking about, just following structure. Breaking the supply, breaks the demand, tests, right? And because this supply is strong, it's in charge now, it's the daily supply that's in charge. Look, I don't want to confuse you, so let me just try and change these colors around. Let's make this gray. Let's make this gray. These are all broken demands. We shouldn't even be drawing them on the charts, but just so it's helpful, right? This one is active. It's not yet broken, but it is dealing with class effect, right? So there we go. So we've got this supply that broke this area here. This supply broke this, which is good for a sell. And then when the fresh touch came here, which we should have all been in, I wasn't, don't know why, so I blame you guys. Why are we not in this? 365 traders in the private group. Those are the charts we need to see. You guys in the private group, keep pumping out analysis, keep sharing trade ideas with each other. All right, keep sharpening each other's swords. Don't wait for Leroy. Right, so there we go. Price then dropped. I broke that there, fine. And price will always choose a lower demand. You know, we know the rules there, right? So because we buy low, right? Then went back here. So now look at this. It was caught by this trend line. It was caught by the supply, and then it fell. I don't know what that is. Let's remove it. It fell. But when it fell now, remember for what we like to see, fresh touch, UPPRA. When it fell for a retest, we really want to see a move to the downside. So it did this in and then failed. So it failed to really run back, and it came back now for another touch. The order block is still intact, right? The order block is absolutely still intact. The order block really hasn't even experienced, you know, remotely 50% of the sell order has been removed. But this movement here should have worked. So there should be an H4 supply to explain why it didn't. A demand, sorry, H4 demand to explain why it didn't. Okay, I don't know. Right, but yeah, there is some type of a rally here, right? And price doesn't come back until then, right? Strong pin bar, market reversal takes place, right? So on the H4 time frame, we've got this situation. First of all, this is worrying. Why would this be broken? That's worrying, right? That's a problem. Beautiful bearish engulfing pattern, really threw price far away. It's literally the reason why price dropped, gets removed here, right? This is why markets are not dropping aggressively on the daily time frame, because what's going on the H4 time frame. And then if we do this, we have that similar situation where you get a fresh touch, not a strong supply, or all our rules, the imbalance rules are not yet met, right? The ones that we talk about in week 3 of the course, the imbalance rule, very important rule, right? And then markets are back in here, right? So if this is now the supply that's holding things on the H4, we're gonna have a problem, because there's not a strong imbalance rule that's been met here, all right? And if you look on inside this area of value, I thought so, we still have this on pound, so we still have something like that, right? This is on H4, right? So for us to remove this and make this white, I would wait for that, because I just want fresh order blocks, man, moving forward for these things, right? Because this is not there's not a lot of confidence going on this chart here. Yes, we're in a downward trend, number one, but supplies and demands are both being removed. And the last thing holding right now is an H4 demand, right? I'm pretty sure there's no confluence on the daily time frame, so it shouldn't be an issue. It will be taken out at some point, but I would wait for this. I would wait to sell here. Right? I would wait for this to hold if markets. But remember, the moment price gets here, please guys, don't abuse my signals and then say Leroy didn't tell us the right thing. So the moment price gets here, you're already played with fire, because now markets are on the other side of two compression-based trend lines, right? See, what trend line number one is the white one on the weekly time frame trying to hold price down. Trend line number two is the yellow one from 2007, right? So markets would have made the definite decision to defy this. Right, so the moment they get there, yes, even if it does sell, we're looking at short sells, potentially 1, 2, or 3, right? Before markets can kind of like, you know, say enough is enough and then break out to the upside. So we're hoping, one would hope that this holds from tomorrow, right? But in terms of looking for fresh order blocks, this is where we are. This is literally this white area there. Is a sell trade type of situation, but again, I'm a bit trepidatious about it. It's not an A-class trade setup. It's like a C-class trade setup. So you know the rules with that. You risk less than 5% if you can. All right, if you can risk far much more less than 5%, we can play with the idea of a fresh touch up here, but it is not a good trade in general. Long term, it might work out if other fundamental stuff shape up and then pound gains a little bit of strength against the Japanese yen or the vice versa. But it's a 50 pip area, so be very careful of that, right? So I'm going to move on to the next chart. AUDCAD. Can't see anything here, too many notes. Let's find it again on another chart. Delete fibs and all that stuff. Right, AUDCAD. What is this? It's a mess. Right, I'm gonna draw a couple of trend lines here. One. Don't like it, but it's there. 2, don't like it as well. It's so big, but it's there, and markets are just above it. Make this green. 365 traders, by the way, those of you who have WhatsApped me or Telegrammed me, or if you're a registered student and you've now got your date, you're ready for one-on-ones, watch out for this week. We will be making contact with you. I owe about 3 people from the last round. I still have to sit down with them and then we'll start. So, but we've got a new way that marks calendar so that it's synchronized. I need to catch up with you guys this week or next week, all right? But just look out for the email. And there might be a need for you to submit another statement for the 3rd time, just to see what you've done since then. So I can give you a full infographic, or you'll get a report if I already have your previous ones, right? So it's just one of two, right? So this is what we have here on the weekly time frame, just above a monthly demand, pricing on the weekly demand. And you can see last week it reacted to that. It was a good buy week for that. Okay. It was a good buy week for that, but markets could drop lower. And the only reason why I'm saying that is it's really looking like, you know, a downhill slope. And I think that's because CAD should be taking hits right now. CAD is taking hits because oil is taking hits, right? So AXY Australian index is still weak. Still needs to fall. We've been maintaining this fall. My month-to-month swing trade was AUDUSD. I shared the results of that in the public Telegram group. And that's because, you know, it was a clean sale. It's just a clean drop, right? So now markets are consolidating just above a governing demand. But I would argue that there's still about almost 200 pips of a drop. So if you can find it and you can maximize on this, go for it, right? But it's falling nasty. And then CAD CXY should still be bleeding, right? Yeah, CAD is now trying to fill this wick on the monthly time frame. It's just going to bleed right through. That's because it was leaving a supply, as we discussed, etc., etc. And oil broke a supply, but it's going through a massive retracement before it can go up. We shall see. We shall see how long this drop lasts. So AUDCAD then has that to deal with. I just want to see what these notes say. These old notes of mine. Delete all these infographs, right? So here we are. All right, so this was one of the signals I gave. The sell worked right, beautiful C-class sell worked all the way there, and we took profits there, but unfortunately we could have made all this extra money. We could have, but yeah, you know, profit targets it was important to keep $1, right? You have to trade from an area of value to an area of value. This is a good trade, very good trade, very clean run. But now where are we? Here we are down here. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hit a weekly demand, but I'm still more, you know, sell orientated. So I'm not in any buys at the moment on this particular chart. I don't know how long this is going to last. In fact, it could have just given us a beautiful retracement to sell again. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So I see I marked it here, but I don't know why I didn't take this trade. I marked it here on the charts. You see here, there's the 61% bearish Fibonacci. Area of competition was hit. Price is now dropping. So this is, we were supposed to be in this sale 3 days ago, and I didn't put a pin in order. This is becoming a problem for me. I give out signals, but I forget to put pin in orders because I was focused on an intraday account, right? So yeah, this is a clean sale. You saw the notes were there, or like we're on time, but we're not in this. I'm not in it. If you're in it and you're in 365, well done, right? So price hit a fib level, you know, and now we're going down, right? So the demand really just was used to push price up just to sell again, because in the long term was selling. On the H4 time frame, we just broke out on Friday on the H4 time frame. So there was this, right? Or stuff we talk about in our module 1. It's right there. It's right there in front of us, right? So markets are just doing what they do every day, right? Right. So yeah. I don't know. We shall see. So now it's about getting an imbalance rule met here, maybe. I think, right? Getting an imbalance rule met, and then hopefully markets breaking this or weakening it a lot, and then selling. Right, so that's the next play at hand, and if we get that right, we can ride it up until there on the H4 time frame. All right, if we get that right, and again, you guys heard what I said, right? There's an imbalance rule that first needs to be met. It's not just a clean trade. It's one of those that you have to watch to make sure that we are good. If we are good and we have an imbalance rule, then we're not worried about this consolidation and impulse move to the upside, because markets could do this. But watch out, watch out. Remember, when there are two supplies sitting on top of each other, smart money wants to sell high. What do they want to do? Sell high. Right, so watch out for that. Don't rush for this, because how would you draw this, right? Remember, you'd have to take the highest wick, right? So you've got a supply on top of a supply. So watch out for that. How big is the supply on top of a supply? It's about 40 pips. And what's the downside? The downside is about, you know, almost double, 1:2. That's what. So 1:2 is not, it's okay, it's not the best, right? Risk $1 to make $1. You want to be in a place where you can risk $1 to make $3. You want 1:3. But 1:2 is if you swallow this area of value like this. If you like taking chances, Tarama chance, Tarama millions, and this is where you are. So your risk areas, you're risking about 20 pips to make about 80 pips, right? Give or take, something like that, right? And that's 1:4. But you don't know. You don't know if markets are going to use this supply. I'm being honest. We don't know, because what we do know is that there's a supply on top of a supply, and because of that, we must be careful, right? There's a supply on top of a supply, and here it's a PCP pattern, this one, number one. That's it. Here, you got a bearish engulfing pattern, right? And you got a fresh touch, and you might want to get a retest. So I would do this. I would have, for example, a wide area of competition, not have a zone here. And what that will do is it'll also help me adjust my risk to reward ratio, because now I'm risking 24 pips, but I'm also selling at the higher supply, and I'm hoping to bag from 24 pips, right, from this white line there, all the way down here. This to me makes more sense, colleagues. So I've got my 1:4 risk to reward ratio. I note that price could turn here and leave us. That's the risk. I'm risking not being in this trade, but I don't want to play around. My area of competition covers the full wick of the bearish engulfing pattern, and then we see this to me is better. It would even suck 10 times more if price is size. Actually, we want a fresh touch. That's all. It's literally probabilities. It's all there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have two areas of value. Stop loss, risk assessment is going to differ because this area is much more smaller and tighter. It's 14 pips. So I can really put a nice big order there. It's a fresh touch. I'm guaranteed it's going to do well, but I am not guaranteed it's going to come all the way up there, right? So I'm going to have I'm going to have to layer AUDCAD with a couple of pending orders. So I'm going to write here pending order layer, and I'm going to divide it in terms of what makes a lot of sense. Let's see on the 1 hour time frame, because the 1 hour time frame is going to be the short-term time frame that makes us move. So you see on the 1 hour time frame, this is still very sexy. This is the area of value you want to marry, but in this consolidations and stuff like that, this is not strong. It's not strong. So let's say we ignore that for now. It's not strong. It's there. It's not strong, right? And then you see here, well, what's markets touching, right? Markets are touching an H4 order block, but not an H1 order block. So if we come here into the 1 hour time frame, right, then you've got this. So now what I've done now is I've really reduced my risk, but also it means I might not get triggered. But this is now 8 pips. So now I'm back to that scenario where I'm trying to figure out, what if this 1 hour was to hold and all I'm risking is 8 pips, and it works out, right? Supply and demand is really good for that. It's good at measuring good risk. So I risk 8 pips to make 120 something pips. Like that's 130 pips, give or take, right? So I'm risking 8 pips, just 130 pips, which is a very good return. Very good return if it works out, right? So if I sell there and my stop loss is just outside and my take profit is all the way down here, right? 1:13, guys, 1:13, right? So we wanted a strong pullback into this area. And if you take it back to the H4 time frame, and let me delete this risk tool. If you take it back to the H4 time frame, it's inside this order block. Do you see? So now when I talk about layering, I could still have, for example, a very small, it depends on your account size, colleagues, right? You have to think about your account, right? So let's remove these bars, or let's keep them on so you can see. First of all, I could have sell trade 1 here, this one here, to make sure I'm in the game. This one is going to be a very small lot size because I'm anticipating that if I'm right about my H1, price is going to run inside a little bit more to trigger. And so I want to catch this and then have a bigger lot size here. So 2 trades and then stop losses for both of them just outside. The smaller risk is to allow for a swallowing of an area of value. And then if you want to put a lot of pips, a lot of power behind your sell, the bigger lot size is here. And I'm saying bigger, but I'm talking about a 5% risk setup. So to be clear, 1% here, 4% there of the account. And that's how I would play that. I would play that there. I'm going to write here H1 plus H4. And then I'll also have an ultimate area here as well, because my account can handle that. I can handle 2 days and then good profits drop, right? So look out for that on AUDCAD, AUD Swiss franc. You're still watching, I appreciate you. Shake my hand. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. And even though you're watching on a premium, I will be online. It just depends on the guests that we have responding to the live chat. So if you guys are there on the live chats, talk to me, please. I'll have a look at that and I'll come back to you as soon as I can, right? So been waiting for this. It's been dropping. I was not in this particular sell, so all I can do is wait for buys, it seems. I'm not in this market yet, right? So this is dropped, left a supply, clean. About to arrive at a demand, and knowing that it triggered a high area of competition without us, right? It really did. The banks really did a number on this one. And the reason for that is the area of competition was like this here, which is still fine because see, it's still part of the bullish engulfing pattern. I would have waited right at the tip there, right? So there's nothing I can do. I mean, prices moved without me. Right, and that's because of this weekly demand, right? So they took a weekly demand, bullish engulfing pattern. You know, markets really set in there, right between there and there, and that's it. They've moved. Is this still? You know, I think there's a lot to ask for on the weekly time frame. Personally, I just think it is. There's a lot to ask for this to happen, and for a price that's already so close to a demand. It's a lot to ask for. It still can happen. It's a lot to ask for. But what I want to do is pull out my homie, the Fibonacci, and say, look, man, if you were still dropping here, and then you'd hit a weekly demand, right? What's going on here? Right. So that's golden ratio and 50%. Right. So what's going on in this entire area? Yes, it's that whole place where I said it would be too much to wait for. But let me just extend carefully. This is my golden ratio. This is where my golden ratio is, up to there, between these two. So I just want to know what's going on there with price. I know price could continue to drop now. It's arrived at 0.236. It could drop, which would be magnificent if it does that. Okay, let's go back to weekly, because we're not going to see what we're doing. And let's delete the Fibonacci lines, because we now know where the golden ratio is on the weekly time frame. This is the PCP area. Let's remove that. This is 50%. Let's remove that. This one, I want less lines now when I go into my daily area of value. So essentially, let me drag this here. This is the golden ratio, right, from here to here. I want to see what's going on there on the daily time frame. Right. Okay. So there was a crazy drop, right on the roof of my golden ratio. It's okay. We can still draw the fib here from the daily. We can still draw the fib, right? So you can see it properly, right? They see this is my golden ratio, and this is where my golden ratio ends, right? And that's where markets just, right, literally took out. People will say stop loss. Someone was like, supply and demand doesn't work on Facebook. I still have to go back to respond to that person. It wasn't on our page. What did you say? This is the dumbest thing I've ever read on the internet for a very long time. If supply and demand works, why are they still stop loss hunts? What? Why wouldn't they be stop loss hunts? I mean, what does that have to do with the trading strategy? Yeah, it's not a stop loss hunt again. It's markets hunting for the best sell, highest sell, right? So the markets drop. It's amazing. And this guy is like a mentor, and you know what I mean? So I don't want to just, it's sad. It's sad, really. But yeah, each to their own, each to their own. You know, with the markets, right, you're always right at the level of which you are at. And you're always wrong at the level which you're at. If you're not willing to keep learning, right, you stay there. You stay right about the two things you're right about and wrong about whatever you're wrong about. It's all personal development, in my opinion, right? So there's a lot of accumulation, then price finally drops. And this is where our golden ratio is. Markets does come back here and then drops, right? So that's interesting. Now let's clean up the chart a bit and really start to see what's going on. I don't know. I keep telling you guys, I don't think we're going to get a long-term pullback, right? I don't think we're going to get that, massive pullback to the upside. So I would want to shoot this down here. I still want to shoot it because I wanted to get to my area, a better area of value. So between my monthly demand is 135 pips, and I think things going to rally a little bit into this area here, and then hopefully start to sell. It's not a clean, strong supply. That's number one. Number two, there's another one just above it with a bearish engulfing pattern over there, which was clearly retested, right? So maybe this will be a better place to camp. Right, last line of defense will be somewhere here, somewhere there. Now let's draw a much more recent leg, swing high, swing low. right? So now you see what's just happened. Remember, I say this is not a nice strong supply. Now what the fib is telling me is, Leroy, that's actually where your golden ratio starts. Your golden ratio ends there to there. Right, so thank you, Mr. Fibonacci, for telling me that. And then it's 50% if you're going to swallow the order block, 50%, something like that. Right, so now that my Fibonacci has done its job to talk to me, I have to decide for myself, is this worth it? Because again, guys, if you're going to take a sell, you're going to have to swallow this. Both areas of values you're going to swallow and hope that there's enough combined supply to stop price from getting there. If price breaks this, you must be nervous, because if it goes, it's going to rip you apart to come back up here where there was a violent move, right? But this is on the daily time frame, and this is 122 pips. That's crazy, right? Can't swallow that. Small accounts cannot do that, right? So let's start to drill down, clean multiple time frame analysis, right? So on the H4 time frame, the supply was broken, right? Price broke that just to go higher. I don't trust it. Well, because why? If you wanted to keep price relatively low, why would you do something so ugly and nasty to it, right? So for me, immediately, I just delete this whole area. No, it could work. Price could come here and drop, right? Believe you me, I've seen it happen before, where markets are like, yeah, it invalidated a little bit of our rules, but we're still going to use to drop, right? So what you want to do, again, is up to you. You want to take risks. You can take a very, tight area of value like this, which is about 20 pips, right? But for me, I'm not going to fight with price where it's already had its battles, right? Price is already had its own battles that have nothing to do with me. I want nothing to do with them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come here for a fresh touch of a clean area of value that has done nothing but just drop price and come risk my money there. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I want to do, right? So I'm going to come wait there. It's also about 20 pips, but this is a better place for me, personally speaking. It's a better place for me. And when I'm looking at my fib, I'm just going to take it from there to this leg. That was the golden ratio. Price arrived, broke the 50% to get to the golden ratio. So now I understand why they broke that order block, right? Golden ratios will always win. And then if I extend it now lower to somewhere here, right? Because this was a golden ratio, price could. So you could take this trade. You could risk here. I don't think I will, but one could. I don't think I will means I'm okay if price doesn't come to me here, right? But one could risk there. And one probably should try on a scale of probabilities, right? And then if we drop our Fibonacci to sit like that, then you have an even bigger problem, because if markets play at this 50% level, this will be nicer. Not a problem. It's just something to watch out for, right? This will be nicer for an upward push inside the golden ratio, right? And then if they don't, then you know this is your last line of defense, right? So that's what I would do on USD Swiss franc. And this is all because I still want AUD to drop. I still want AUD to drop. All right, so this is a powerful place to be right now for AUD. And then I'm just going to see what it looks like on the 1 hour. On the 1 hour, I want to see violent moves. I want price to drop violently from my areas of value. This is not violent enough. It sucks. This also sucks. They all suck. These are all very sucky areas of value where price started to move violently from. I'm just going to keep drilling down until I get to 15 minutes. All right, this is not pretty. It's really not. It's not. It could work, but it's not pretty. This is the only one that makes sense, right? So now I'm on the 1 hour, and again I'm saying, you know what? This selling high up there is starting to feel like the right thing to do. The problem with the 1 hour is I also have these problems, right? I have other supplies along the way that are not really accounted for by the fib like that, right? There's nothing wrong with that supply on the 1 hour time frame, but let's see where it sits on the H4 for confluence. For confluence, nada, zero. For confluence, you see what I mean? That 1 hour for confluence is if you're to draw a full H4 order block, right? Using the wick of that bearish engulfing candle like that, and then you get your area of competition most likely hit, right? So that's what that 1 hour is telling me. It's part of a soldier, it's part of the seller's army here. All right, so that's now I'm unsure. I really am unsure of where to lose money, because I want to keep pluck in price. There's a bearish engulfing pattern as well. Kind of. Oh no. Oh no. All right. This, what did I click? All right, guys. I will risk a little bit here and then risk a little bit here. And then hope for the best. But I think I'm gonna, instead of swallowing them, I'm just gonna keep them separate. So that if it's a ding here, it better be a tight ding. You understand? It better be a tight ding. So instead of swallowing this whole area, ding me out. Ding means stop. Stop me out here at 16 pips. Risk, you know, a little. I risk a little. Let it swing. Let it accumulate. Right. And then here as well, because it's quite a bigger area. 32 pips. Risk a little. Let it swing. And then if you've got a big account and you're confident, right, what you can do is just have one big stop loss outside for these things, and then just let them swing. And again, I do think we can still see a little bit of downside before price can come back up, right? We can see a bit of downside. Final Fibonacci, swing high, swing low. Let's do this. And then delete the Fibonacci. Just looking for confluence because it's quite, to me it feels tricky. It feels tricky, right? So the golden ratio is somewhere here, or it starts there. That's another problem, right? It's not just there, it starts there. Where does it end? Because again, we don't control price. We don't get to control where price sits and who price visits and all that kind of stuff. So as to do something like this, it would start somewhere here and end here. Right, now I delete my Fibonacci. I go to daily. So you really gambling on a kiss of the fib on H4. You are, I mean, on H4, the weekly fib is way above, way above anything we're looking at right now. In fact, that would be the hit right there. So yeah, it's a risky trade, man. Big risks on AUD because I'm very unclear. So what I'll do is, you know, when you scan the markets, right, you get to categorize your trades. Let's say you find 10 trading signals. You don't have to take all of them. You take the best, the absolute top A grade best. So I'm going to write risky and only if I have free capital, right? If I've locked profits here, broken even there, then hopefully I can then get into this, right? I've built enough float to take a risky setup like this, right? So it's risky, but it's plausible. Risky sell. I'll write that down, right? Euro pound. Right. Remember this? We took this beautiful rally up and we wanted it to go all the way up there, but it didn't. So to take profits, you know, keep $1 at the end of the day, right? But we're right about not enough supply in here. Markets then eventually stopped. So what I forgot to look at was the compression rate, right? So this inside compression with the yellow stops there, but this one with the red, right? That's where we had a sniper. You know, slow your roll, bro. Supply somewhere up here, I think. Anyway, something went not wrong, but you know, markets turned for whatever reason. So I was looking at something like this, right? When markets dropped, right, which is outside this yellow line, which I don't even think price even got there. Almost got there, but not there. But if you draw a daily supply, I'm sure it would have hit. Oh Lord, there we go. You see this daily supply? I'm right. So you see the yellow compression in the yellow trend lines, there's no supply in it. That's why markets broke out. But in the red ones, we're still compressing a little bit. And if you draw this properly, order block, the way I taught you how to draw it, boom, price hit a supply and dropped. Right. So I missed this, but then when I saw it, I took profit somewhere here. Like, what's going on? Right, so now markets are dropping through, and I'm so glad we're not in any buys because there's still another daily demand that looks exactly like this that could give us a short-term run. The whole house is definitely awake now. You can hear the babies crying, mummies, go-go's, aunties, and everybody talking in the background, right? So there we go. We've got a bullish engulfing pattern right there, right? So we're waiting for this. I would wait for this. I would wait for this. This area of value is being dealt with we see smart. It's nice to get fresh touch, red, good money. This is beautiful. One of the other live accounts that I did with you guys a couple of weeks ago, good money. I put out this signal a while back, and now we've got a couple of things open, but we now know, by the way, that this compression is not yet done and price still has to break out. So this is the problem, right? So you see here, I'm just extending this a little bit to see what's going on. I'm extending my yellow compression to see what's going on. This is also getting tighter and tighter and tighter, right? So we might see a breakout to the downside, sure, whatever. But then we have to be very careful now of what we're going to do, right? Because this is actually technically a downtrend. Eh? All these buys are short term. If you look at what your governor is doing, right, there's a problem up there. So if you're to buy here, you better be able to exit there and then exit there or exit here, right? So this is now a dream. Getting up there is now a dream because again, euro pound in general is falling. Right, euro pound is falling here, falling there, and there's contention here. So we might be coming back. This was a Boris. We thought the price was going to fall here when Boris got elected last time, right? So markets might get somewhere down there, but we don't know. So these buys, guys, are so short term. Need to be babysat, you know, break even realistically, right? When as soon as you see an order block on 1 hour H4. Confirming it, breakout, you know, break even, sorry, but there you are inside that daily supply. I say exit, right? You're looking at this serious issue here, but as price is dropping by itself, it's creating supply after supply after supply, right? So stay out of this for buys, unless if you want to catch some retracement, right? So retracement like this, maybe. I'm going to stay out of this trade because I was too invested in it. So I think emotionally, I'm not ready for it. I'm going to completely ignore it. But this is a possibility, right? For anyone whose mind is not dialed by euro pound, right? So I'm going to wait a little bit, skip another week until I know I'm not looking for money that I could have had from that chart. I don't want to be emotional on any of these charts because that's when the mistakes come in. So I just ignore them. There are notes here. What are these notes? Right, clean sell. Markets did not get to that area though, did they? Doesn't look like markets got to these areas, right? So markets did take weekly supply 1, right? Clean, like whenever this analysis was done, I don't even remember. And I'm not interested in that for some reason. I wanted it to get into the daily area of value. Let's just do an MTA to see if there wasn't a daily supply. There was a daily supply. Why did we ignore it? Was it my OCD? Okay, I don't like engulfments that come with spikes, by the way. That's why. Right, but this is what happened here. Bearish engulfment, fresh touch, and then markets rallied into it and then dropped, right? So that's what's going on now into this weekly supply, right? So just clean analysis from past week. I'm not in it yet. I think my pin in order is way higher, right? So it's here because I want this fresh touch. I want where price, you know, fails. So I'm just going to wait for that. I don't know if this daily demand is going to do the things, you know, to make the things work. Like if it's gonna push price up there, I'm not so sure. I really am not. But I'm not going to change my pin in order for now because I like that there's a daily supply inside the different types of confluences right there. So I'm just going to let that slide, you know. Euro Swiss franc, we also had a similar buy during euro pound. We were very much hot on Euro Swiss franc a while back on this particular trade here, and now daily buy, and then price sunk a little bit lower on the H4 time frame. Did it hold? I don't know, but I do remember telling you guys on the public Telegram group to get out, to get in and then get out. You know, now prices coming back up. I'm not happy about it, man. Honestly, I'm not going to be in this trade as well. I'm going to let this play out. Let's do a bigger picture analysis, right? So daily demand, daily supply, broken trend line, retest, right? So that's the problem. Markets are still in a very viable area. The problem with that is it's going to, or it's already found its basing. So it's found its basing here. I'm just going to include this line. I hate Swiss franc pairs, by the way. anything to do with Swiss franc, right? So that's what it chose to react from. So this ended up being smoked, right? So look at price. They will still use it, right? So look at this wick, right? They'll close inside, but unfortunately, stop losses have been hit, or the area has just been depleted. So you got to delete that now. It's not going to work, right? Still inside of a daily, weekly, monthly demand, but it's just not going to work, right? You could start to execute buy stop orders. So you want to see it actually leave this area, but just be very careful about the cluster at the top here. Supplies might be at play here. It's hard to tell, you know, because of how the cluster looks, but supplies might be at play here. So be very careful about that. I'm not interested. I'm not taking a trade on this pair. I really want to, you know, just zone into my strengths for the rest of August up until I meet my particular challenge for the 30th of September, 18,000 US dollars. We need to catch up with this account, close it at about 30 something thousand rands, right? So what's going on here? Why are there so many weird zones? Right, melting. It's just melting, Leroy. It's just melting, like we say, right? So it's leaving the supply. Another perfect week of sell pressure. It's just doing what it does. It looks very choppy, right? So be careful with time frames, right? It looks so choppy on those small time frames, H4 daily, like chop, 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 up and down, up and down, up and down. But if you come to your governor, that's why I always teach people first. We spend 2 to 3 weeks of module 1 just talking about the governing chart. Like, it's actually ridiculous. I'm really just focused on what our governors are doing, because markets follow that type of money, right? So you can see there, chop, 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 you know, consolidation, chop, 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 drop, 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 you know, consolidate, go up, really go down, go up. And on the daily time frame, it's just annoying, right? So, you know, this really won't help us because it's a continuous downward trend. We need to find the next best place. This has already happened, I think. We've missed out on this one. Guys, we need to get that captain's program in the private Telegram group. It can't just be me, because you see, we're missing out on so many opportunities because I'm so busy sometimes as well. So I need students who've completed the course to do, and they were waiting on me. So I'm taking full responsibility. I was supposed to assign the captain's charts, and I will look into that, right? The captain's program, because this doesn't happen if you've got like 6, 7, 8 good captains, you know, watching just euro pairs, dollar pairs. And that's the whole essence of a trading community, because I also get to grow and benefit from that. Just like, so yeah, we need the captain's program. This is not going to work. This is really, we're missing out, right? So there's no redemption here. There's no clean entry on the daily time frame, right? So this is the only possible sell high opportunity. But price would have to break the smaller trend lines, right? We're asking a lot from price. I don't know if it will be willing to do that. And by the time price comes, it might be even been in an uptrend. Right now, markets are playing at these levels right now. That's fine. There is this situation here, bearish engulfing pattern right there, just underneath. That's fine. Time to draw out a bearish Fibonacci, sell high, sell low. Swing high, swing low. Golden ratio is at play already. Too late. That's also fine. Nothing. Let's not force it. But if you do want to force it, try your luck here. If you do want to force it, try your luck here first. Then try your luck there. What I would do is just put a pin in order here. Honestly, I wouldn't even bother here. Although this might work out better. Let's just go back to daily. So compact on the daily time frame, even for a Fibonacci. Right, so definitely try your luck there, right? So maybe there's hope, but it's tight. It's going to be choppy, guys. This is one of those charts where if your trading psychology is not that strong, this is a waste of your time. And this area has already been triggered, so it's too late actually. See this X here was this bearish engulfment, and look, price already touched and dropped on Friday. Right, so you mean now you're just praying for markets to play mind games and come back up before going back down again, right? So because on the daily they took it, right, and that's just how big the area of competition is on the daily. On H4 you might be lucky for another push up, right? So try your luck there. So there are 2 on EURJPY pending sales. And then I'm going to show you in episode 4 of the 5X account how I'm going to incorporate this to my trading journal. Final analysis of final picks will be done there for my accounts. I'm just doing this for everyone, right? You guys choose what you want. USD Swiss franc, the painful trade, right? Because I'm in it right now. And those are the beautiful notes I made for Sia a while back. And then markets have just done exactly that. We did this like maybe 5 weeks ago or whatever. I'm surprised at an H1 neckline supply. And when I talk about neckline supply, we're talking about the Quasimodo pattern, right? And I hope you guys know it. I've seen it somewhere there in the coastal. Right, so we've got this. Wait, what am I doing now? Why am I confusing myself? Right, so we got this. Sorry, 1, 2, head, 2, shoulder, 3. Right, so we got a head and shoulder situation here. Do you guys see that? I don't know how to make these lines any bigger. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw them, not neatly with the brush so you can just see it. Right, you got this, got the head, got the equal shoulder, right? So then you got the neckline here. So when I say H1 supplies by the neckline, that's what I'm talking about, right? So I'm hoping to sell. I'm hoping the sell works, man. So I'm hoping this punches back down to the FOMC. Look at how close USD Swiss franc came to FOMC levels, right? And I did tell you guys to buy here. This is literally a shocking thing. It's the FOMC levels that I've been talking about since June. Markets came to them. Daily demand. There's my white line. The stuff is recorded. It's all over the place. Buy. And this is not because of NFP. Markets were always coming here. We knew this 4 or 5 weeks ago. I keep telling you that this FOMC level 16 June are important. And then they used NFP to confirm that on Friday, right? We're talking about thinking like the banks. Guys are long-term. They're very sharp. They're accurate. And they've got a plan. They've got a plan, right? So their plan is at play. Will this neckline supply hold now? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. I hope it does, but I really don't know, right? I really don't know. But that's what we have here. Like I said, I'm engaged in a sale that won't work. I know for a fact I am currently inside a sale that I don't have faith in, won't work, right? This is not the type of candlestick you want. At market close inside your supply. This does not make sense. You wanted a big full red candle. You wanted a strong engulfing candle to engulf all of you. Wanted that type of violence, right? Right now, I really don't have that. I really don't have that. And really, price actually kind of like needs to still get up there. So we've got a problem on that account, right? But right now, one of those pairs you look out for the dollar. AUDUSD, I had a 4-week swing and I got out of it because my TP got hit. It's been beautiful. I told you guys about that H4 sell. It was part of the chart I sent the other week, Friday, right? And if you come to the H4 time frame, there it is. Markets came back to it. I told you, I literally sent this out to you guys. So I'm hoping you're making your own monies here. I swung like crazy all the way there. So I'm out. I didn't even take this signal that I gave. But yeah, because I spaced myself. Trading psychology wise, you'll see the course why that's important. But yeah, if you're in this, just watch out. It could be a short trade, take profits. If you don't want to take profits and you want to risk it, this could happen. If you're not in it, then watch out for that to hold and sell there. But in terms of the big picture, I'll tell you now if selling is still a good idea. I'll tell you now if selling is still a good idea. Yeah, we're still good to sell. We are still good to sell. Weekly. All right, markets are reacting to a weekly. All right, they hit it on the week of 19th of July and then kind of like failed to go up, kind of like went to my H4 area, kind of like looking, they're trying to drop down now. So it's an area of contention, but I think we're still good to sell. Look at that on the daily time frame, beautiful. That's why I say to take that area that I just showed you on H4, bearish engulfing pattern, right? Doing well, right? So we might get another drop this week. Oh, actually this week we might get a retracement a little bit up there and then a drop. So you're looking at making, give or take 90 pips safely, right? Could be more, but safely you're looking at about 90 pips, right? And again, the entry for AUDUSD, for those of you who did not take my first trade, which was the sell high trade, it's a problem because you only want to get the best trade set up. Sell high, buy low. Right? And the next thing that you're looking for is selling somewhere in here. That's the next thing you're looking for. You're hoping for to be triggered somewhere there. Right? And the stop loss placement is going to be so tricky because now you've got a supply above you, right? You can't ignore that. And that's 50 pips roughly. So it's I don't even know if it's worth it, right? 50 pips to make 90. That's less than 1:1. It's less, it's not, you know, the real sale was here. Look at this. You're risking, like I said, it's very important in our public Telegram group, and you take me seriously there, please. It's 25 pips that you're risking, and already in those 25 pips, you have made 1:2, about 60 pips. And if it runs now into this area, that's a classic 1:4. All right. But now, as I'm talking to people who might need to only enter now, this is a high risk trade, number one. If you take it and you lock there, you might get stopped out. That's number one. Number two, if you take it, you risk all of that. It's not the best business, you know, approach to it, right? But AUDUSD potential pending sell, and on H4 risk very little there. In my opinion, it's not an A-class trade, it's a C-class trade at the very least. EUROUSD, we did cover it already at the beginning, so I'm going to move on. I'm just going through my list here as we wind down our war room. Thank you for watching. NZDUSD, oh my God, this guy hurting me. All right, so you see this buy that I'm in right now is a dangerous buy because I'm going to buy somewhere up here on those stupid time frames, right? And it's a pending order I set when I started the 5X account thing. So it wasn't before I started doing swings on that show, which is silly, right? So this buy won't hold. I'm telling you now, I don't think it will. Right? I'm going to have to, I'm hoping markets like zigzag to the positive, even $1, boom, I close the trade, trying to get out of a loss situation. But if I fall asleep and it is my stop loss, it is what it is, right? What I want to do though is try a buy here. Yes, I still want to buy this thing because I do understand it's leaving a demand, an H4 demand, and I found me a beautiful H4, an H4 supply, and I need to find an H4 demand. And I like this H4 supply because check this out, they removed it and then they played down. They removed it and then they played down. Oh, they're not fooling me. They are not fooling a 365 trader. So look at where this trend line is, the yellow trend line. So such a beautiful chart, guys. I mean, if you have to grow to appreciate the intricacies of this particular chart here. She is adorable, right? She's absolutely adorable, right? So I want to buy in there. Once again, 18 August, I'm pretty sure they will increase interest rates. And this week is the week of the 8th of August, so about 10 market days or less market days. So we're talking about next week, Wednesday. So we'll see how this week goes. They will be looking for the lowest here. They're now positioning themselves for a buy low. I don't know if markets are going to return that 1 hour demand that we were supposed to be in a long time ago. I don't know if markets are going to come back to this 1 hour demand. See there, one I gave you guys on Friday, the other week, and I was like, buy here. So it's like a full beautiful swing. This was real money that some people definitely missed out on. But got the notes. I don't know why, right? So now, you know, I'm here, but I do feel like this week might be filled. If it's not, great, but if it is, definitely want to buy again here. And this is to be buy to hold, it'll be buy to swing, buy into the FOMC level, 16 June. That will be a nice, that would be a nice. Oh, that would be beautiful, right? About 150 pips, and look at what you're risking. You want to take risks like this. And I can say risk because it's trading, right? High probability trades will always come at risk. The first area of value by itself is about 13 pips. But if you want to follow my H1 demand, that's 26, and you're still making 153. It's beautiful. Mwah. Excellent, right? So be watching out for that. If I do take a loss on this particular trade, you'll see it in our series, how to 5x, 10x your account, CHFJPY. Right, we are literally at the end, guys. We are literally at the end of the road. Thank you for joining me so much. I appreciate all of you for watching, for liking, for taking notes. Please trade. Please do give me results. Let me know if the stuff is working. Give me feedback. I truly appreciate that because what I'm doing is trying to create a legacy. And the legacy isn't mastering trading. I've done that for myself. I've built a trading company. I've built an academy. I'm done. I want to know how many people I'm helping, right? What was my impact, All right, and that's what the next 10 years of my life are about. Hence the YouTube channel, the podcast is coming out. You guys need to get this channel to 3,000. We're gonna have a money heist podcast. There are all sorts of things that were promised that are starting to unplay. Module 3, as it gets through its final testing stages, all that stuff is just about impact. Right, CADJPY is falling. It should fall. It had a beautiful run. I mean, it was a monster run. I don't see myself trying to look for buy setups here. I think that would be suicidal, right? It is getting a little bit choppy. Right, trying to make it difficult for it to trend, right? It's trying to make it a little bit difficult for it to trend, but I will not be fooled. We shall not be fooled. Let's see. Well, let's first plot our fibs. So swing high, swing low. The first one is there. Right, so we've got 50% Fibonacci level, which generally speaking works, but I don't like it. It's a retail area. And then you've got something like this here in the 60-something% there. 50%, be careful. This has been touched already. All right, so I wouldn't even be bothering. The supply, again, not the strongest. Right, so I know what to turn my eyes to. Right, so I'll be turning my eyes to a higher sell area because that makes more sense to me. Then I'm just going to wait for price to come there. So this is no interest to me, or markets won't come to me and I'll miss out. And you know, such is life. Right, but in terms of my next target of selling, I have to be patient. Doesn't matter about the target, right? Even if you've got a target, you've got a goal as a fund manager, those of you are going to get into the position of fund manager, your clients' targets and your personal goals and your targets as a company, how much you need to make this year and all those things. I always tell my traders this, right? Those targets are just to micromanage your day-to-day behavior. They have nothing to do with the market's timing. Nothing to do with the market's timing, right? So remember that. So this is nice. I'll be trying to sell some of it, which obviously is me accepting that price might even have to break out of a trend line structure. But when I get to H4, I might have to change my mind. What's going on here? When I get to H4, this is what's going on here, right? I don't know. I don't know. Price did come back. It is a game. Markets are playing a game in these levels, right? Let's pull out a Fibonacci just to double check ourselves. That is not a Fibonacci. Right, guys, this should be the last chart I'm doing. This war room has been lovely, extended, you know, it's literally the same, right? So you see how our golden ratio area from this swing to that swing has just been played with, right? Look at this. Right, it's really, I think she's at the teethers, man. I don't trust it, right? So perfect. Because of that, I want to avoid this, right? And then if I look again on H4, what's going on here? Let's remove the Fibonacci. Let's get a clean chart again. Look at this. All right, fresh touch. So, and then here you don't even have a bearish engulfing pattern. It's annoying, right? Because this was clean, should have been in this, right? And it's been brought back up there. And then this should technically hold, right? If this is the next place to stop price, the next swing, you know, lower high, whatever, this should hold. Doesn't look like it's holding, right? It looks like markets are consolidating right on top of it, glass effect, blah, 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 blah. So then maybe we should be worried about something like this. This should hold. So one could make the argument that there's a supply on top of a supply and prices hit that, right? So then maybe it's like one of those rare moments in your life where you can do a market execution sell. I don't do that, but I'm just saying, you know, you've already missed this drop, right? Because remember, your stop loss is all the way here. That's just the reality. It's outside this, and you've already missed the run. I mean, this thing has ran for about 25 pips. And you need to have a stop that's about 55 pips from where you're going to market execute. Crazy. To me, it feels crazy from a business perspective. You know, you're risking more than you could potentially make, right? So we're stuck. We are stuck on this trade, man. We should have been in. Beautiful pin bar setup, right? So markets are hovering, right? And you could have a tighter stop loss, right? There we go. right? Markets were making their way to retest this, and now markets could drop, right? You know, if you just look at the history, right? Look at this long-term consolidations drop, right? Right at this level, right? At this level. Let's find another one. I'll show you. I don't know what that is. Don't know why it's there, but I'm pretty sure I'll show you something. I don't know if it's there, but let's see. Long-term consolidation, then drop, right? It's just the nature. So just look at it. Look at it. I'm just dragging this thing across. Long-term, then drop, right? Drop. Long-term consolidation drop. So this is how this chart likes to behave, right? We never draw across things. I'm just showing you that in general, this is kind of like what you've been dealing with since this is now in 2021 in June. Broken supply acted like a good demand. All right, so I could do this all day and waste a lot of time, but we've seen a couple of times. So that could happen. You could have something like that happening. There we go. I knew I'd find another one, right? Long-term consolidation, then drop, right? And then supply here as well. Look at that, then drop. Right, so markets memory love this area, and then drop, right? So I could do this all day, literally, supply and demand, all day. I can do this. Just that we now need to end, right? And price drop for a very long time there, right? So we are here. Let's get back to it. So this could lead to a drop, you know, is what the point is. The point is what I'm trying to make right now is on the 1 hour time frame. Do not be deceived. This would also easily lead to a drop, right? This consolidation, then drop, right? Because that's how markets have always been in the past. And if that's the case, then you're going to have to take the trade for what it is and where it is and accept the risks. And the risk being at least have a stop loss somewhere here. But this is crazy. I honestly don't trade like that. But yeah, you'd have to kind of like manage yourself like that. You have a stop loss just outside there, and then fingers crossed this works. So it's one of those, you know, pray to trade, trade to pray, you know, pray that this works out, right? So 26 thing run, and then the drop continues, because it's just, for me, I prefer clean order blocks. And so I would encourage people to wait for price to get here. That's what I would do. I would encourage people on a 1 hour time frame, such a clean drop. I would encourage people to wait for that. I would encourage patience in your trading. That's what I would encourage. Patience in your trading. This is a clean 1 hour, you know, area that could do wonders for you. But this and the drop and this and the drop is also a reality. But yeah, but you could be lucky, right? You could be caught up in a short-term drop, right? And then that happens. So for me, I'm gonna wait for that. I'm not going to risk any more than I need to. H1 supply. I'm gonna take that on. Guys, I'm done. I think I'm done. There's still a lot of charts to look at, but we need to stop at some point, right? We've got a couple of good marching orders for the day, right? I'm looking at NZDJPY, which is, let's say this is our final. It's dropping, right? Monthly supply dropping, retest of that area. That's fine. Let's delete these. Yeah, it's dropping. Find a sell. It's choppy, same as the previous charts, but you could find a good place to sell, right? So there you go. Which dropped. We're here. We are there. You know, this could hold. Otherwise, come wait for it up here. One thing that I don't look at a lot because it's not part of my trading setup plan for the third financial quarter is gold. But I know people love their gold, right? Gold is dropping, man, because dollar is strong, right? Remember the relationship. Gold will fall whenever dollar is strong, right? So we didn't get to our FOMC setup, and now we're back here. We're back at the break of that consolidation. This makes me excited, because if this holds, then dollar can fall again. If this just hold, and then dollar can fall again. But if it doesn't hold, we've got problems. Let's see what it looks like on the weekly. Yeah, so it looks like all the weeks took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 weeks. Almost 2 months of gold trying to pump up was taken out by one NFP data set, right? Isn't that funny? Funny, right? How you can build a position around one asset and then in 1 week, it just gets wiped out, right? So if this doesn't hold, right, we have problems. Gold will then drop a little bit more. It wasn't even the sharpest lean, and then which would make sense here that this was always going to be a PCP continuation. If you look at it like that, drop a Fibonacci to there you go, 50% PC. This is a retail area to sell, anyways, right? Or buy. Like 50% fib is a good strong confirmation, especially for retail traders, right? So there it is. There, my sell is up there for FOMC on 61.8. because we choose that more often in the academy. But yeah, it's still in a sell pattern formation. So that's the reality. And the big picture is markets left a demand and have been struggling to maintain the momentum, made momentum. And now there's a PCP on the governing chart for further drop. Remember, and I said if gold was to come to 1.5, I would be the happiest man on this earth, right? Because then I could buy my kids a serious portfolio around this stuff. I could really get them a lot of EFTs, because one is 7 and the other one is 1 year old, and that would be a good place to buy gold shares, EFTs, all those kind of things to hold for the next 18 years of their lives. It'll be a good price. So I've been holding some cash for this to happen. I want it to come back to about 1.5. I'll even take 1.6 just in case I don't get 1.5. I'll even take 1.6. But buying, they just felt, I felt like I was being robbed, right? Too high, right? Gold can pump back down here. Yeah, if life would allow for this, this would get gold up to 2,000, right? If it came all the way down there, but it's too much to tell. Guys, thank you so much for watching this thing. Thank you for being there with me. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'm looking forward. Look out for academy announcements. Remember, we've got our women's event coming on the 15th of August. We've got a lot of things. Our remote course is still on crazy discount, half the price, 150. If you want to understand how supply and demand works, it's not, a full course, literally with everything that you need, PDFs at the end of every week to help you out, lecture videos, literally spending from 1 hour to 2 hours to 3 hours sometimes. And it's not a lot, it's enough. It's what you need. You want proper market information. I'm randomly just opening different folders to show you that there's a lot of good stuff in here. You just drop the link down below and someone will contact you. Let's grow the academy, let's grow the community. That's why price will be low. It's like a price freeze. Remote course is a price freeze. Once you get into the remote course, all our live classes are free for you. You don't pay to get into the live classes, right? Because it's just I think it's silly for people to do that. If you want people to learn, you have to make it accessible, right? So I think 150 is fair. It's normally $300, but yeah, I'll see you guys on the other side. I truly appreciate every single one of you, and I'll catch you this week, right? Episode 3 is dropping of how to 5x 10x your account, and hopefully we'll get up another 2 episodes this kind of week with these new adjustments to the trading, right? Shake my hand. Let me know if you watched till the end. Please, I beg you, if you're still watching, if you commented, just let me know who made it till the end of this video, just so I know. I appreciate all of you. Shake my hand. 365. Cheers, guys. Goodbye.